All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another fun-filled spotlight session. Today we have Albie Delgado, the solar guy, who's going to do a another great presentation for us. He has some good updates for us about, upcoming price hikes and things like that, and giving us some more insight into solar and all those great things. So I'm going to let Albie go ahead and take it over. Thanks for joining us again, Albie.
Thank you, Lawrence. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I know it's raining, but it doesn't matter. It's still a beautiful day. So I'm with Sunny Mac Solar. I put my contact information in the chat. There's two things I'll be discussing. I won't take up too much of your time, but I think it's valuable. So if you have any questions about somebody who's looking to get solar or looking to sell a house or buy a house with solar, let me know. If you have a copy of the agreement, I can look it over and I can give you my fair assessment because not all solar companies and not all solar systems are the same. They do vary. I do want to, one of the reasons why I asked Lawrence to come back on here is number one is there are major rate increases coming due June 1st. So Atlantic City Electric is 17.23, JCP&L is 20.2, PSE&G is 18.18, and Rockland Electric is 18.18%. So, and I tell people, since 2021, the cost of electricity has gone up 25% and is projected to go up another 29% by end of the year. So this is an important time to talk to your clients that even if you have somebody that just bought a house and is looking for ways to offset those costs, the good thing with solar, it's clean renewable energy. Right now, your utility company is still using fossil fuels, coal, and nuclear. None of those things are good for the environment, and we use the best form of renewable energy, which is the sun. And the good thing is, if you have a client that just bought a house and they've owned it less than 12 months, you can pretty much build a system as big as you like. I mean, obviously, it depends on how much roof space we have, but you may have somebody that bought a house and said, "Hey, look, you know what? I think solar may be something I want to get more information about. By the way, I have an electric car, I have a swimming pool, I have a hot tub." Or I got a bunch of kids that turn on every light and leave it on thinking electricity is free. Clearly, we know that's not the case. The other thing is if you have somebody that says, hey, you know what, I was thinking of solar, but my roof is on the older side, 15, 18, 25 years old. The good thing with SunnyMac, we can actually incorporate a new roof. It comes with a 50-year warranty. We use Owens Corning, and we can combine the two together. We have, and like what Lawrence was mentioning briefly, we do have two ways to getting solar. One is the lease, which is no money out of pocket, fixed payment. We can incorporate, like I said, a new roof if needed. We can also incorporate tree removal if needed. I will tell you, my clients, 40% of my clients get a new roof, and probably about 10 to 15% get tree removal. Now, when I say tree removal, maybe one or two trees. That's if it makes sense. I'll get somebody out there to give us a free estimate to do that. I even had one client say, "Hey, look, it's one tree. It's not that big. I'll chop it down myself." I'm like, okay, one less thing we got to worry about. So if you take it, that's fine. And just that you know, I cover all 21 counties of New Jersey. I am based out in Bordentown. I do this full time. I've been with Sunny Mac for 5 years. But I think it's important. Like I said, your guys are helping, you know, people buy and sell properties. When they buy a house, it could be it's a major investment. So you want to make sure that you guys are taking care of them on that side. But you also want to make sure they're not getting taken advantage of when they decide to go solar. Because unfortunately, in sales 101, not every company is reputable. But like I said, if you go to my website, let me make sure I included that on here. I thought actually, yeah, I did. Okay, my website's on there. Now, if you go to my website, you'll see I have a lot of five-star Google reviews. So people are very happy with me. And I just say, look, I'm going to be very honest with you. If solar makes sense, we'll love to help you out. If it doesn't make sense, we do have a secondary product, which is called community solar. In a nutshell, that's for practically anybody that has an electric bill. You may have people that say, hey, I just bought a condo and they don't allow solar. Okay, great. Well, we have community solar, which ties you to a solar farm. There's no cost, no fees, and you will get a 20% discount off your electric bill. It's a 20-year program. There's no contract. Again, reach out to me for further information. But again, it's a great way. It's great if you know landlords. It's great if you know people that rent. Traditional solar that I do, I can't do apartments, can't do condos, and most of the time can't do townhouses because they don't allow it. So this is a way that you can still help homeowners. I'm sorry, you can help, renters and people that can't get solar, or maybe they don't want solar. Like, hey, you know what? My wife doesn't want the panels on the front of the house. That's like my number one, objection I get. I'm like, hey, I get you, but you know what? If that's not what you want, we can still do community solar, and community solar does not require panels, and it's still going to save you 20% off your electric bill. So, does anybody have any questions? Because I pretty much blew through most of it.
Yeah. Um, Community solar. Could you give me more detail? How does that work?
Yeah, so what happens is this is for people that have PSE&G, JCP&L, and Lancaster Electric. So what
Uh-huh.
happens is they're going to be tied to a solar farm, and what happens is they're going to be able to get a 20% discount off their electric bill. The way it works is the solar farms are going to provide electricity to the utility company, and because you're helping the state meet their mandate, you're going to be able to take advantage of those discounts. I may have mentioned this a while ago when we talked. You know, back in 2019, the governor actually signed the Clean Energy Act. Basically, what it says is by 2025, which is this year, your utility company has to have at least 35% of their customers using some sort of renewable energy. And by 2030, they want that number to be 50%. In addition, by 2030, there's a $90 billion infrastructure bill coming due. Again, these are costs that, consumers, whether you rent or you own, are going to have to be on the hook for. So what happens is, it's important to know, solar on your house may be an option, or if you're like, hey, you know what, we rent. Okay, well, this is still another option for you. But again, you'll be part of a solar farm. You'll be able to get a discount on your bill. There's no cost or fees involved. So again, if you want more information, let's set up a one-to-one. You can call me. We can set up a meeting, and love to help out your client. And it takes like 5 minutes to sign somebody up. So it's a great program that it's actually backed by the state, and I can actually send you the link for the state website as well. And like I said, they've been backing it up for the last 2 years.
I'm still not understanding how that can be done. It is because I remember there was few years back, and even now sometimes there is calls coming in,
Yeah.
and they say we save the energy and blah blah blah, but actually the bill gets doubled.
No, no, what you're thinking of is third-party supplier. So
Yeah,
Hmm.
there are
third party
companies out
supply.
there that'll
Uh-huh.
do that. They'll say, "Hey, we'll reduce your third-party supplier," but the problem
Uh-huh.
is it's only good for 3, 6, 9 months, and after that period of fixed time goes up, then your payment goes up. So this is not that. This is
Okay.
an overall discount on your bill. You will still keep the same utility company. So if you have PSE&G, you will still keep them. That will not change. The only difference is going to be you're going to receive a discount on your electric bill. It'll be one of the new line items that's added. But again, all you're going to do is get a discount monthly. It's a 20-year program. It's backed by the state of New Jersey. And
Mm-hmm.
what you're talking about is, and I'm very familiar with that. That is Ruby. That's third party supplier. And I've heard,
Hmm.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's
yeah,
third party
so, yeah,
supply.
that's
So
this is
this is
not that.
different
You will
than
not
that.
have to worry about that. Yeah, that's craziness. So
Yeah, I
So
used to
is
work for
there
one of those companies.
so is there a fee
Oh,
that you pay to be a part of the community solar,
nope.
and by paying to subscribe, then you
Nope.
get this
There is no
additional
co
discount?
Jennifer, there's no cost, there's no fee. I will tell you that to get on a solar farm, there is a waiting time for it. So
Mm,
basically what you're doing is you're reserving your spot. So the minute a
mhm.
spot opens up, you'll be able to take advantage of it, and then you'll start receiving those discounts. But there's no cost, there's no fees. We don't need a credit card, we don't need a social security number. So
so
it's
this
very,
is only
very
for
simple.
condos and townhouses which they cannot put the
This is
panel,
for
or it is for
anybody in New
every
Jersey, but I
everybody.
like to give an alternative, Ruby, when
Mhm.
they don't have like it could like again, hey, I'm renting a townhouse or I live in a
Mhm.
condo. These are places that solar is not really something
Mhm.
that's happening over there.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like
And
it's
you
an alternative.
Right.
and
Yeah.
you
So
have
essentially you're just changing your supplier, right? You're the
No, no,
person
no.
Mhm.
This
who's
has nothing
giving
to do
you.
with third party
Well,
supply. That is
I don't mean third party supplier. I mean like where your energy is coming from,
yeah, you're
right?
going to
It's
get a
like you said,
portion of
it's
your
coming
energy
from
from the solar farm,
right,
and
not
because you're
from a
helping this,
PSENG
yeah,
supplier, is what I'm
yeah.
saying.
So you'll still keep the same utility company. You still get the
Right,
same bill. You're just going to get a discount that you weren't getting before.
right.
Are you able to sign up for that in addition to having solar panels on your roof?
We don't recommend that because that could cause a problem. So that actually a great question. So if you already have existing solar, I would not recommend it because that could get messy, and I don't want to be responsible for that. So this is only a program that's for people that don't have solar or are renting. That's really what it's for. But the other thing is, if you know people that are LMI, low to moderate income, this is a great program for them, and they can actually save up to 25%. They get a little bit an additional discount. They save up to 25% off their electric bill.
Hmm,
Great.
hmm.
Yeah, we
But
would
again, my
love
Anybody,
contact
to,
information is in the
definitely.
chat. Please reach out to me. Love to talk to you further
yeah.
about this.
And like
Yeah.
you're saying, anybody can just sign up for this at any given time.
Yeah, and the great part is there's no credit check required, nothing like that. All I would say is this is not something that's going to be around for the next 20 years. It's going to be around for a while, but the demand has been very, very high.
Mm.
So my thing is,
Yeah.
to reserve your spot now.
Yeah, get
You
in
know,
now.
and Lawrence, I'll use a crazy football analogy. You guys may or may not know this, but since 1960, the Green Bay Packers have sold out every game they've ever had since 1960. And to get on their waiting list to be a season ticket holder is at least 15 years long. So imagine if you were on the list 15 years ago, you're getting ready to come up. So it's kind of the same thing. Get on the list now because it's getting filled fast.
Hmm. I hear that. Huh.
How to
Green
use
Bay
my sports
Packers
analogy, sorry.
selling out every game, huh? That's cool.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool.
Well, like I
You
said, I think
guys,
it's important, like I said, that you guys know that there's options for your clients. You want to make sure that they have, like I said, and again, if they're just looking to get information, that's fine. I want to, my thing is I don't sell them, I educate them to let them know all the things that are going on with the Clean Energy Act, like I said, the infrastructure bill coming due, the rate increase. Now, remember, there's a rate increase June 1st, and then there's another one right after it, October 1st. In New Jersey, rates go up twice a year. So it's something we want to make sure that we educate the consumers about. And again, you can use me as a resource anytime you have a question.
quick question. So let's say, someone does buy a house and soon after they want to get, they put solar on and
Yep.
soon after they need to get a new roof. Is it difficult to undo all that and
That
Great
was
then
my question. I
question.
was waiting to ask Lawrence.
Okay, great question, guys. That's one of my first questions after I get their address and contact information. How old is your roof? If they say, "Hey, my roof is 5 years old," you know what? We don't have to worry about it. However, if you say, "Hey, my roof is 15, 18 years old," we're going to recommend you get a new roof. The good news is we're going to be able to bundle the two together. We do have a roofing division. Now, the crazy part is, if you go to a traditional roofer, they're going to charge you probably 750 to $8 a square foot. We only charge 375 a square foot. So I had a lady 2 weeks ago. She got quoted a roof for $25,000. My roof was $12,000. Now the reason for that is because we have an approved list of roofers, and we let them know, hey, we're going to get you clients that need roofs. But the other side of the coin is you got to give us premium pricing.
Mm.
And the roof, like I said, it's a 50-year warranty. That's included too. Now, if you do have a situation that somebody, bought a house with solar and the roof does need to be replaced, reach out to me as well. I do have a partner that does come out. He'll take off the old panels. He'll put on a new roof and put those panels back on. He can also take the panels off and dispose of them if you have like a really old system and it's beyond its life. I have people that handle that as well.
Hmm. How long do solar panels usually last? I figure they'd
Great,
last a
great
while.
question. Solar panels have a 30 to 35-year shelf life.
Hmm.
Oh, and for Kavitha, the question in the chat is how long is the membership for community solar? That is a 20-year discount, and you can cancel anytime. Let's say you've been at the house or the apartment for 5 years. You're like, hey, I'm going to move. You give them 30 days, you cancel it. When you move to your new location, reach back out to me, and we'll set you up again.
Hmm. Sounds good. Do you guys have
Can
any other?
anybody take that? Any household can take that if they cannot afford a solar panel right now or
Well,
not.
I would say if you're interested in traditional solar with the panels, we can have that conversation too. And if it turns out that doesn't make sense, we can still do the community solar. And by the way, community solar does not require panels on your house in any way, shape, or form. You're just tied to the solar farm. But we can
Right.
have both those conversations and see which one's going to be the better fit for the client.
Now I have a very interesting question. Okay.
Okay,
Um, I don't know, you might have had that before,
what's
but
that?
because okay, the question is, we don't want to put it on the roof.
Okay.
Is there a way you have built up a carport, or if there is extra land is big,
Ruby, that is a
which
great question. So I have two answers for that. Number
uh-huh,
one, I've actually put solar on detached garages. I
uh-huh,
put it on detached barns. And
uh-huh,
again, if you have a lot of land, we can do something called a ground mount. And let me show you what
uh-huh.
that looks like. I'm going to pull up the
Yeah,
picture for you.
cool. Thanks.
That is a ground mount. So
Yeah.
what happens with that is the only caveat is it's got to be 30 feet away from everything and it's got to be fenced in per the township. But yes, we can definitely do that if you have enough land.
Hmm.
That is something we can also. But I will let you know there are some restrictions. They have to be using at least 15,000 kilowatts because again, the solar company, there's costs involved. They can't just say, oh yeah, we just need 5 panels. No, it's got to be at least 36 panels to do this. But again, I can still do an evaluation and let you know if that's something that is an option. But yeah, I,
Okay, great. So, yeah, it has to be, can it be over septic field?
What do you mean? In a regular, like a field? Well, again, this is in a field too. So if you have the land, it's not going to be a
Yeah.
problem.
Okay.
And then what we do is we do something called trenching. So we'll trench the line from the house to the ground mount, and
Mm-hmm.
we include that cost as well. That's included in the price.
Okay,
I
cool.
think Ruby meant a septic field.
I I
Like
don't
if
even.
it's on, there is a septic field, and can you put the mounts over that? Ground mounts.
I've never seen that before. I've never actually had that question. This is primarily for residential. So again, if you own land, I don't see it being a
No, no, no.
problem.
We have a septic system in our land. So
Okay, I don't see that being a problem. Again, like I said, we can. That's something I can reach out to my project
yeah.
manager and get confirmation. But I've done this for 5 years. I've never had an issue with where I
So
can place.
ground mount would require township permits?
Yes, and whether it's on the great question, Nina. Whether the panels are on the ground, like behind me, or they're on the roof, we do require panels, but we will take care of that as well. We get the panels. We deal with the township. We deal with the utility company. We handle all the heavy lifting.
Now
So
I've heard some people just get the solar for their heating up their pool. Is that something which you can separate from the house, or
Again, we have minimums. Like the minimum size system we can build is 4,000 kilowatts a year. So if you're looking, odds are if you're looking to, you're looking for solar because of your pool, because that means your electric bills are high in the summer. Well, your electric bills in the summer are going to be high anyway because you're running the air conditioning. So
Mhm.
again, that we can have that conversation and look at the overall picture. But if it's just for the pool, I highly doubt the pool is using that much electricity. But again, the
but
pool's
why
only open
would they
what, three
do
months out
that?
of the year.
They would definitely have the whole system.
Yeah.
They would do it
Yeah.
for whole
no?
if it
There
is
are some
profitable.
people they want to heat up the pool.
Yeah, I mean, if they're looking for a very small project, that's not something that we cover.
So let's reverse that. If you get the whole house, can you also cover the pool?
Well, yeah, because remember when you run the electricity for the pool, it's tied to the 1 meter of the house already.
Okay.
It's already part of the house.
Yeah, yeah,
Same thing with a hot
that
tub.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So you said the minimum requirement. How many panels does that minimum requirement includes?
Probably like 9 panels, 8 panels in that range. But again, like I said, we can make that determination. So that's not
Okay.
something I see that's a problem. We do small systems as well. We've done them.
Okay, cool.
But we'll make so we can make instead of us guessing, we can make the determination after we do an evaluation. So that's not a problem.
Here's
Okay.
an interesting question. Who is the manufacturer for these panels, and are there any impact of the new tariffs?
Well, the good news is our panels are made in America. They're made in a factory in Georgia. If you give me 1 second, let me give you the actual name of the panels. Let me pull this up real quick. And they're 415 watts. And let me see something. I just want to see where it should be on here. Yeah, they're Q-cell panels. Again, they're manufactured in a plant in Georgia. So tariffs do not play any factor because they're made in America.
Cool. What would you say your average pricing is for a solar system? Like average.
That's very hard to say. I could
Yeah.
say it could be anywhere from 25,000 up to 100,000. I've seen systems that it's really big. Like, let's say you have a house that's 1,500 square feet, but you have a house that's 8,000 square feet. So clearly, it's really based on the individuals because some people again have a swimming pool, they have a hot tub, they have electric
Hmm.
cars, they have a bunch of kids running around. So every house is different. But the good
Right.
news is I can have an evaluation done within 24 hours and then be able to answer all those questions at that time.
Cool.
So if you bundle a roof and the solar panels, it, I know there is a range, but the roof is a price, or sometimes we see these people saying that you'll get a free roof and we'll do the solar
Great
panels.
question, Nina. I hate to say this, but there are people out there that use very deceptive tactics.
Right.
Nobody in this world is giving you a free roof. What
Hmm.
we can do is we allow you to get a roof with solar with no out-of-pocket upfront money. That we can do, but I don't use the word free because nothing is
Correct.
built free. Like you don't know, and you'll never find a roofer that does free roofs. If you do, please give them my number. I would love to work with them.
Makes sense.
Again, it's just more it's very
It
cheesy
is.
marketing. I don't like that because you don't want to deceive people. Say, look, that you're not putting 10, 15,000 out of your pocket. However, that price, we give you a bundle price that covers both. But I will tell you one thing we are very proud of with at Sunny Mac is our roof price is about 40 to 50% cheaper than your traditional roofer. Again, your traditional roofer is just making money on the roof. We don't make any money on the roof. We make money on the solar. But but the agreement we have with the roofing division is, hey, we're going to sell the roof. You don't got to do that, but we need you to give us premium pricing. And shockingly, the last 2.5 years, our price of our roofs has not gone up one penny. And I'm probably jinxing myself saying that, but everything else, of course, is going up in price. But for some odd reason, our roof price is not going up. So, that's why I tell people if you're considering solar, let's have a conversation. Let's sit down. Give me, and what I do is I'll set up a Zoom meeting, go over all the data. If you like it, I'll actually come out to your house. I don't give you 2 hours away. I'll come out to your house. We'll sit down, go over the paperwork, and just make you feel warm and fuzzy.
So this is an outright buy, or you can even lease it, correct?
Actually, great questions. So in New Jersey, since we're focusing on New Jersey, there's two ways to get solar. You can do a lease, which is no money out of pocket, or you can do ownership. You can actually own the system. Now, if you own the system, you get two major incentives. The first one is you get a 30% federal tax credit, and number two, you get something called an SREC, SREC. So basically, what happens is because you're helping the state meet their mandate, they're going to pay you an income. They're going to pay you an income for 15 years based on the size of the system. And I will give you an example. I have a client. This client, where is this at? This client is based out of Cape May. He's using 10,643 kilowatts. The state's going to pay him $13,105 over a 15-year period as income, plus his federal tax credit because he's helping them meet their mandate. By the way, this system, all the panels are going on the detached garage, which I thought was pretty nifty. So that we do projects like that from time to time. Again, if you have the space, we can do it.
So ownership is basically just paying out like all at once, right? Just buying everything.
Actually, Lawrence, great question. So there's really two ways. We can provide 100% financing. It's a 25-year loan. It's a 4.99% fixed rate. There is no prepayment penalty. I will tell you, 2.5 years ago, our rate was 0.99%, but of course, rates have gone where they've gone. However, if you have somebody that says, hey, look, you know what? I have equity in my house, or I can get a home line of credit, I would actually encourage that because as great as our solar banks are for the leases, when it comes to financing, they do charge a lot of junk fees. I could probably save you $10,000, $12,000 off the cost of that system if you don't use us for financing with that. And like I said, I just try to be very transparent. If that's the only option, fine, we can do it. But my thing is, like I said, if you have equity in the house or you have other ways to obtain that financing, and if you need help, like I said, I have those avenues as well. But I'm sure you guys do too. So,
Just
On an
to
app.
just to put into some perspective for everybody, I have a 20 kilowatt solar system, and it's through ownership side, and we're saving probably a better part of like 30% on utilities. And to give you a concept of that, I have electric car, electric like stove, and all electric in the house. I have a pool and a heater, and
you got everything, huh?
yeah, oh yeah. I mean,
Joel checks off all the boxes.
but it really works. Just as an alternate question, and I don't know if this is too far down a rabbit hole. I'd be happy to talk offline if you want to.
Sure.
If you're if you have like an investor and they have a piece of property and tenants are paying all utilities, how does that work as far as potentially getting that money back as opposed to just giving your tenants
Great
discounted
question.
price?
Unfortunately, I don't provide solar for rental properties. They won't let us do that. But
Okay.
again, this is another situation. You could say, "Hey, I'm a landlord. I have tenants. They're great. They pay on time. Let me see if they're interested in I can actually use community solar for them. I can introduce them to that, and they can save money on their electric bill." But yeah,
Okay.
when it comes to actual rental properties, unfortunately, unless the only way around that is if you don't use us for financing, because again, the solar bank, as soon as they see, hey, the address on the bill is not the same address on the house, what's going on here? And again, we got to be very
Yeah,
honest.
I mean, maybe just putting it in that perspective, just like paying for it even cash. Is there a way? Is there a way to collect that money as the owner?
Well, yeah, if you own the
The
property,
savings?
you'll still be able to get the federal and state incentives. Absolutely.
Okay.
And yeah, you can tell the tenant to show the bill. I mean, you can work it out some numbers with them.
Okay. I just a random
Yeah,
question.
well, again, like I said, there's a lot of, believe it or not, there's a lot of different scenarios I come across all the time. What is the qualifying criteria? Okay, what is this?
This
Oh,
is from your website. They say the website said 1,000 to 1,500.
oh, okay. Great question. Okay, so I have a donation program. This is for residential solar, not community solar. So
Mhm.
if you refer me somebody and they get solar, I make a donation to your favorite charity, nonprofit. Um,
Nice. Good to know. Thanks.
if you're with a church, a
Mm-hmm.
VFW, Rotary, or if there's an
Mm-hmm.
organization that's very important to you, I will make a donation to that organization because you helped me and I want to give back to the community. So absolutely.
Yeah, to get into that, do you do that for churches or any
Absolutely. I'll even come
the
out there and
solar?
do if even I even do presentations just like this in person as
Oh,
well.
cool. Okay.
And this is statewide.
Yeah. So honestly, like what is really he said 30% you save. So I'm putting 40,000, let's say, a scenario, and put like how many 20 watts as he said.
Well, he said 20 kilowatts. That's a big system.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
It's
using
like
a lot of
60
electricity.
panels.
Yeah, he's
60 panels? Whoa.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
he's got a big
Uh,
system, so he's yeah. But the
Yeah.
overall his overall life of that program, he's going to save a ton of money. Plus, the SRECs are probably paying him pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay.
They pay pretty. I mean, he gets a
I
nice
mean,
income for 15 years.
it's definitely,
What?
probably like several thousand a year kind of number in savings, I mean,
Yeah.
in the big grand
So
scheme of
Ruby,
things.
what I would say is the average homeowner is going to save 30 to 40,000 over the next 25 years. Again, you're avoiding the rate increases. That's the big factor. And if you
Mm-hmm.
own the system, that federal tax credit comes in handy, and the
Mm-hmm.
state income, because again, you're helping them meet their mandate. They're going to reward you with that as well.
So we are just the when the state is giving us it's in the taxes, like let's say I put 40,000 system and it is a tax deductible amount.
Whatever the system cost is times 30%. That's your federal tax credit. It's a one-time credit and you can use it for 3 years.
One time credit for 3 years. So how
Yes.
much are we getting back? Just
Well, again, if the system is 40,000,
Mhm.
that'd be 12,000. You'd have a $12,000 federal tax credit. And then again, I can't give tax advice. Speak to your tax professional and they can give you the best strategies on how to handle that.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so we actually so overall, if you really look at the cost, the bottom line cost is how much for a 10,000, forty
Well,
thousand
you know
dollars.
what? Ruby, I hate to answer that question because again, it's like with real estate. If somebody says, "Hey, I want to buy a house," you're like, "Well,
No, I know what you're saying.
yeah."
I was
It
just like
varies. I mean, I could
if
sit there
there's
and say the average system is 25,000, as low as 25,000 up to 70, 80,000. It really depends on the usage. Like Joel's got a big system, but not everybody's
Mhm.
going to have a system that big. Or some people are
Mhm.
going to have a system bigger than Joel. It vary. Every system is different. It's not one size fits all. But the
Yes,
good
I
thing
have
is,
one very interesting question.
sure.
I have seen those panels, like the whole solar system is different
Yeah.
and storage system is different, which cost another 20,000, right?
Well,
10 to
there is
20.
something called battery backup. Now, with
Battery
battery
backup.
backup,
Yeah. Hmm.
the first question I ask is, how many in the last 3 years, how many outages have you had? If you say I've never had an outage, don't
Hmm.
waste the money because what happens is it's better to wait for the price point and the technology to continue to improve. So again, if you don't need it, I wouldn't recommend getting it. And anybody I've spoken to that said, "Hey, I have outages all the time," most likely they already have a generator already. So
Hmm.
it's funny. In 5 years, I've never sold a battery backup. I'm like, I'm not here. I don't make any money on that. I'm not pushing something that I don't think it's to your best interest. If you need it, you need it. But if you don't need it, I wouldn't recommend it.
So the only backup battery guys are getting those credits on their bills, or we're
So
just
battery
getting
backup
credit.
is that has nothing to do with the federal and state incentives. That's only if you get solar. Whether you have battery backup is irrelevant. That has
Okay,
nothing to do with incentives.
got you. Because I've seen those Teslas. I think those Teslas are the battery
Yeah,
backups, right?
we offer the Tesla wall batteries. We offer those as well.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
cool. Well, I learned a lot today.
Mhm.
Well, thank you guys. You had some really great questions. Joel, thanks for chiming in. Again, you have my contact information. If you know somebody that is open-minded to a conversation about solar, whether it's on the residential or community solar side, I would love to have that conversation. Oh, there's another question in here. Let's see here. How frequency do the mean? Well, great question, Kavitha. When it comes to residential solar, you do get a 25-year warranty, and you also get access to a monitoring app, which is free. There's really no maintenance required because what happens is, and again, today's a perfect day. We get enough rain on the East Coast, so if you get dirt, you get pollen, you get branches, it's just going to wash off. And for some reason, if it goes weeks and weeks without rain, just hit it with a garden hose, not a power wash, but you can hit it with a garden hose and rinse it off. But if you're like me, you don't like ladders, hire somebody to do that. Or ask me. I have people that are in the power wash game, but they can do it something called a soft wash. But you don't need that here. Like Arizona, twice a year probably. Like dry climates is different, but here we get enough rain. You don't like we're getting rain the next couple of days, so you won't have to worry about that.
Right.
But like I said, you keep me as an added resource. Lawrence, again, thank you for having me on. But you guys, I don't care what the question is. Reach out to me. You can call me or text me. Love to help you guys out.
Lawrence, do we have his information?
It's
Yeah,
in the
his
chat.
information is in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, just save the chats right in there. Again, I lived in Jersey my whole life. Love it, top to bottom. So if you got clients in Cape May, you got clients in Bergen County, doesn't matter. We will make sure that they get their questions answered. Because again, you want to make sure they're getting taken care of.
Right. Got it. Got it. Got it. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Albie, for coming on. I really appreciate it. Um, Everyone, hope you enjoyed today's spotlight session. I learned a lot. Hope you all did too. Keep in mind those price hikes that he was mentioning.
Yeah, June 1st, right around the
18%.
corner.
Yeah, 18% to JC to PSE&G. I think you said about 20% to Atlantic
Well,
City Electric.
JCP&L is 20.2.
Yeah.
PSE&G is 17.24. And Lansing Electric is 17.23. And Rockland Electric is 18.18. The reason I know this off the top of my head because I say it every day. So
Yeah.
Lawrence, I don't expect you to catch all four in a row like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
I took care of that for
I
you,
was
buddy.
good though. I was almost there. I was
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
there.
So bottom line is rate increases. I've never seen them this high, and you have to understand the more people that go solar, that's less revenue for the utility company. And remember, they're not a nonprofit. They answer to shareholders. They got to make money, and if they're losing money, guess what? You're going to get a rate increase. So,
Mhm.
so this is
Awesome.
why the benefits we have to offer.
All right. Thanks everyone for coming on. I really appreciate it, and I hope you all have a great weekend.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.